Welcome back. Heading over now to the sports studios where Ayotune Balogun is standing by.
Yes, indeed, the federal government has confirmed that a grand reception for the victorious Team Nigeria to the Paralympic Games in Rio will hold tomorrow. Now, the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Solomon Dalong, said President Muhammadu Buhari is pleased with the performance of the athletes despite some challenges encountered. Team Nigeria surpassed their previous record of medals haul at the Paralympics after earning 8 gold, 2 silver and 2 bronze medals at the Games. Presidential honors and cash rewards are expected to be announced at the reception. John Toshak has been sacked as Wydad Casablanca manager following their 4-0 defeat by Zamalek in the first leg of the African Champions League semi-final. The former Real Madrid and Wales boss had been in charge since 2014. After taking charge in June of that year, 2014, he led Wydad to win the Moroccan title in his first campaign and then followed that up with the runners-up spot last season to secure African Champions League football. Wydad Casablanca also sacked the goalkeeping coach Younes Koutaya and trainer Driss Waju. In the English Premier League, Arsenal forward Alexis Sanchez scored twice but missed a penalty as the Gunners won comfortably at 10-man Hull City. Algerian international Islam Slimani marked his Premier League debut with 2 goals as champions Leicester eased past Burnley 3-0. Nigeria striker Kelechi Iheanacho got on the score sheet yet again as Man City made it 8 wins out of 8 in all competitions this season with a 4-0 demolition of Bournemouth at the Etihad. West Ham's poor start to the season continued as they suffered a 4th league defeat going down 4-2 at West Brom. Gareth Barry scored on his 600th Premier League appearances as Everton defeated Middlesbrough 3-1 at Goodison Park. Andy and Jamie Murray kept alive Great Britain's hopes of retaining the Davis Cup for a 4-set win over Argentina in the semi-final doubles. The Scottish brothers beat Juan Martin Del Potro and Leonardo Maia 6-1, 3-6, 6-4, 6-4 to cut Argentina's lead to 2-1 in the best-of-5 tie in Glasgow. Andy Murray and either Carl Edmund or Dan Evans must win the singles matches to give Britain victory. The winners of the tie will face France or Croatia in the final in November.
Argentina lead.
And that's a wrap in sports news. The news at 10 continues shortly.
In other news, tens of thousands of people carrying flags and banners in 7 German cities, including Berlin, Munich, Hamburg and Frankfurt, all braving cold and wet weather, have taken to the streets in protest against a proposed transatlantic trade deal between EU and the US. According to the demonstrators, there are fears that a transatlantic trade and investment partnership will undermine democracy and lower European standards on food, environmental protection and labor. But supporters of the deal say the deal will lower tariffs and promote growth. The EU and the US began negotiating the trade deal in 2013, aiming to create the world's biggest free trade market with about 850 million consumers. A new round of talks is expected to start in October. In the Middle East, Russian President Vladimir Putin says Syrian rebel groups are exploiting the current ceasefire to regroup. He says the US, which backs some rebel groups, is more focused on retaining their military capacity than separating moderate and militant groups, a stated aim of the truce which began on Monday. Mr. Putin also urged Washington to make the ceasefire agreement public. There are growing tensions between the 2 major powers over the rebels' role and delays in providing aid. In televised remarks during a visit to Kyrgyzstan, Russian President Vladimir Putin says Moscow is keeping to its obligations under the Syrian truce and the Syrian government is fully abiding by the agreement. But he says the US seems to be trying to keep the rebels' military capability in its conflict with the government. Mr. Putin adds that this is a dangerous path.
What we can see now, it is not separation of terrorists from the healthy side of the opposition. We see the attempts of these terrorists to regroup, change names to the other names, and maintain the fighting potential. That is what we see, and it is sad. But still, I assume that we share a common endeavor to achieve peace in Syria, and we have a common goal, to fight international terrorism. This is indeed a common goal.
Meanwhile, commercial trucks moved through Turkey's Silva Goza border gate to Syria on Saturday as aid for the divided Syrian city of Aleppo remains stuck in a closed. Al-Shabaab militants have killed at least 7 Somali soldiers who were guarding a border town near Kenya. After the attack, reports say the militants then pulled out of the border town of El Wak overnight. Meanwhile, the Somali army says government forces have retreated to another town where there is a base for the African Union's AMISOM force. Al-Shabaab fighters often stage raids and then withdraw before government forces have a chance to stage a counterattack. And the main news again. A former Chief Justice of the Federation, Justice Dahiru Mustafa, today joined in the call for the decentralization of resource control in the country and the need to address injustices committed on all sides. Also today, 4 residents in the Isheri area of Lagos were kidnapped, as 3 kidnapped oil workers in Rivers State escaped from their captors. The Center for Geodesy and Geodynamics in Bauchi State today confirmed that the earth movement witnessed in Khoi, Kaduna State 7 days ago was an earthquake and not a tremor. And tens of thousands have protested in cities across Germany against a planned transatlantic trade deal between the EU and the US. And that's it on the news at 10 tonight. Many thanks for staying with us. I'm Harriet Agbini. Have a great night and enjoy the rest of your weekend.